Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to ModGolf Live. I am your host, Colin Weston. And if you've joined us before, you know that every single week, every single Monday, we jump on here to start our week off right. I'm in Vancouver, so I'm on the West Coast. So it's still morning time here. So just had my cup of coffee, 9 a.m. If you're back east, it's noon, so you're having lunch or anywhere around the world. And people do join us anywhere around the world here. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing right now, welcome. So today, my guest is someone that I've known for many, many years. And I love what he is doing here to grow the game, bringing people back to the game, especially those people with physical injuries or they just kind of aged out and they can't swing the golf club like they used to anymore. Or maybe they can't even swing it at all. And that is Steve Fluke, who is the co-founder of Power2Golf and the Swingless Golf Club. And we're going to have some great demos with Steve today. Both he has a club with him and also on their website too. So we're going to look at a couple of things that they're doing there. Once again, love what he's doing because growing the game is one of the pillars of ModGolf when I started that in 2017. Whether it's technology and entertainment and then growing that community building piece, and especially for people that have either lapsed for the reasons that I just mentioned there, they're not physically able to get out on the golf course anymore. And there's such a social glue to golf, being with your friends, being out there for those couple of hours and that camaraderie and the stories that you build. And when people lose that, it does affect their mental health and also their physical health and not being able to get out there and walk around the course. So what Steve is doing is amazing. And I want to do everything I can to support him, and we'll bring him on in just a moment. But before we do that, I'm going to start out with what I do every single Monday. And that is start with my Monday morning musings, the things that have caught my attention over the last week or so, whether it's in golf or outside of golf. But today we're just going to focus on golf and a couple of things that are going to be happening this week and then early in the new year that more on the entertainment side of golf. And the first one we're going to talk about, which is happening tomorrow, and that is the Showdown. So crypto.com is presenting this. So we've got Brooks and Bryson teaming up, guys that were at each other's throat a couple of years ago there, kind of chirping on social media, but now they seem to be buddies. I guess they're no longer enemies or frenemies. They're friends from what I've actually heard. So it's interesting now what we've got going on here with Rory and Scotty. They're going up against Brooks and Bryson. A little bit of live meets PGA Tour action here. So yes, they've done this in the past during the slow season in golf just before Christmas. But this year's a little bit different. So you can tell they're certainly trying to whether they're going to reconcile the whole live PGA Tour feud that's raged on for the last, almost 3 years now as these come together. So seems like they're using this as an opportunity to make peace, perhaps, is what they're looking to do here. And I understand what's going on. I got Charles Barkley as one of the commentators, so adding that aspect to it also. And apparently they're getting paid in crypto for this, which makes sense. It's crypto.com is going to be sponsoring this. So that happens at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, so 3 p.m. West Coast here, our time here. So I'm going to be tuning in, at least for a while. It's a 12-hole match because I'm kind of curious to see what's going on there. Other thing before we continue with my musings here, did want to mention that we are live and interactive here on our ModGolf YouTube channel. So I got a couple of people I can see that have joined us already. So hey, don't be shy and ask some questions. That's what we want to do here. When Steve comes on, let's make it interactive. You can see I've already in the comments here on YouTube. I've also already put a couple of things there welcoming you to the show here, saying I'm from Vancouver. So yeah, let's make this fun and interactive. So please introduce yourself and let us know where you are joining us from. And as I mentioned here, just some other comments here, I put, will you be watching the Showdown tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time? So yeah, want to hear this. Let's get the conversation going here. And the other one I want to mention too is what Tiger and Rory with TGL and their company Tomorrow Sports has been building for the last couple of years. And that's going to be launching on January 7th, the first match they have there. And that's with TGL, I guess with the SoFi Cup, as they are calling it. So with that, I am going to here. Let's have a look at this here. So, if you don't know what's going on with TGL and what Rory and Tiger and the group has been building here, let me just share my screen. Like I said, going to be doing a couple things at once here. I'm not only your host and yapping away here, but I'm also, I guess you can say I'm the executive producer here, that I'm twisting the knobs and pulling the levers here to kind of make some stuff happen here. So yeah, so hopefully you can see that on screen. Yep, there we go. Oh, I can see we got Steve on there too. Introduce him in a second there. So a little spoiler, there's Steve's smiling face. So yeah, with TGL and SoFi, so they built this purpose-built stadium in Florida that they're going to be hosting the matches here. You can see they've got 6 different teams, and with the schedule that they're going to be having here, you can see. So yeah, they're really introducing that team aspect to golf, which I know that Liv has been doing for a couple of years now, and that aspect that's been very, very popular in other sports, whether it's cricket and all the way down. That people love to have a team and cheer for that team. So with this, you can see all the different the matches that are going to happen here. Oh, I think there was something else I wanted to show you here that they talk about it to explain and what's actually going on. And that is without the video here. So once again, you can see all the teams here that you've got. And I don't want to play a video. I thought there was something else that was going on here. You know what? I'm going to stop sharing that because we want to get into the main event here. But I'm also very, very curious to hear what your thoughts on this. Will you be watching TGL? Do you think this is a gimmick where they're creating the stadium so you got fans there live? They're doing it every single Monday. Obviously, NFL won't be on during that time, so they're replacing Monday Night Football on that. So I'm really curious to hear everybody if you think this is a bit of a gimmick, what's going on, if you're interested at all. Apparently, they're using a jumbo simulator for hitting from tee to green, and then inside the stadium themselves in the middle, they actually have an artificial synthetic surface there, bunkers, greens, rough, all that stuff. So love to hear your thoughts on TGL and what Rory and Tiger are building. But gee, I was going to wait for the big reveal to bring them on, but with me pushing buttons here, I obviously pushed the button that has Mr. Steve Fluke joining us today here. So let me get that off there. So there we go. Steve, welcome to ModGolf Live. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for bringing me on today and kind of sharing our story. But yeah, I'll be tuning in. That looks like it's going to be an exciting event, TGL.
It really does. It really does. So who knows? Maybe there could be a division in the next year or two that perhaps people that can't swing a golf club, that they can be using a Power2Golf club to play the game. That would be interesting. That would be inclusive and accessible.
Yes, it would.
Maybe we're onto something
some,
there, but let's not get ahead of ourselves
some,
here. Let's not get so as we get going here. So all the people that are watching here today that aren't familiar with all the good things that you're doing to either reintroduce people to the game that have lapsed because they're not able to swing a club for physical reasons, or perhaps people that whether they're veterans or people that just can't swing a club, how they can get back on the golf course and introduce them to the game and put that smile back on their face. So Steve, why don't you tell us about what you're doing with Power2Golf?
Well, happy to do so again. Thanks for having me on your show today. Yeah, what we've done, quite frankly, is made the game possible for everyone to enjoy, be it for someone who is born with a physical issue, or someone that has just simply aged out of the game, and many other applications. So I'll tell you a little bit about the club. It's a powder actuated technology, and it enables a golfer to hit golf shots from 50 up to 225 yards with no swing. And you can also fade or draw the ball, hit low shots, high shots. So literally, with the Power2Golf club, a wedge, and a putter, a person could play any course in the world that either is a non-golfer or more importantly, those that don't have an option. It's either Power2Golf or they don't play golf. So we've, again, made the game possible for everyone to enjoy.
Love this. Love this. Okay, so I know that you can't see your hands right now. So
right.
we're going to bring up your website here and show some videos to see it in action. But I
Sure.
believe you've got a club with you that you've got off
Yep.
screen there. So why don't you show us what you have there and talk a
Sure.
bit more about that? I'd love to hear about, as an entrepreneur, the development process of it over the years, because you didn't
Yeah.
invent this last Thursday. So tell us about the club, how it works, and give us a little more information there since you've got one. There it is. All
Yeah,
right.
sure, sure. Well, again, here's the club with the striker out. You just push that in here, and basically set the yardage to go from 50 up to 225 yards by the variable range control lever here. And then
Right.
you dress the shot just like using a normal club, but instead of swinging, you simply push a couple of buttons here. You pull up on one, you push down on the other, and sends the ball down the fairway. Our superintendents love it too because there's no divots, and it's no louder than Bryson DeChambeau hitting a driver. So it does make a little bit of noise, but it's actually muffled, if you will. So again, we're set up, the technology and what we're all about. And I'm a former, PGA Club pro. We're not competing against the proper game. It's like a safety net for those who physically can enjoy the game, or they're not golfers. Let's say one of our applications are social golfers. They're not going to practice. They're not going to take lessons. They're only playing a couple times a year, so they can go to a local participating course and just rent one for the day. Most of the units we have out for sale, and we've sold throughout the U.S. in 8 countries, and we continue to sell daily and ship daily out of our distribution center. So again, I want to make very, very clear, we're not set up to compete against the proper game. This is like a safety net for all those who would like to enjoy, but there's a physical issue involved.
Yes, yes. So I've had the pleasure of meeting you in person a couple of times at the PGA show in January in Orlando there, and you're doing, great work there and with your booth and kind of sharing the word and spreading the gospel. So
Yep.
I'd love to hear about the partnerships and the relationships you build and how you go about kind of knocking down the barriers or maybe debunking some of the myths that golf course owners and operators might have with having your club on the course, and how you actually then get them to be advocates and ambassadors and champions for what you're doing and promoting it, rather than ones that are perhaps thinking it could be a negative experience of having people playing with your club on the course.
Right, right. Well, we were important when we developed our program here, to make sure it's inclusive for everyone who's part of the golf industry, and everyone benefits, starting with the golf course owner, the manager, even down to your golf professionals. The initial pushback is, well, they don't need me as a coach anymore. Well, yeah, they do. They need still help on putting and chipping, because most of our players, they can do the little shot. Okay. Course management, rules and etiquette, and how to get the most out of your power club. So we suggest they put together a package centered around that, so they serve everyone in their community, not just physically able people or pure golfers. So with regards to golf superintendents, as I mentioned briefly, it's really a super, because they don't have to have any divots. They don't take any divots, which is kind of nice. Um, and then again, anyone who's in the business stands to benefit from Power2Golf, and we've proved that over and over again as we set up more courses across the country, and be them private, semi-private, public daily fee, or military. There's an application for Power2Golf at each property. It's kind of nice. We have 3 package system that we are making available to the golf courses: 2 club, 4 club, or 8 club system, depending on the volume that they have and the type of property that they have and they operate. And they can either retail it or rental. And so there's a lot of different ways that it can be utilized. The membership directors love it to retain members. And again, I've been in the business a long time as a golf professional on the other side of the counter. And it's not a good day when your member says, I'm just going to be turning in my membership because I don't play anymore. So instead of they saying, okay, well, there's really nothing we can do, it says, well, Mr. Jones, you could actually just slide over to Power. We've got one here. Why don't you try it out? And they don't want to leave the game. It's a very bad day, a very sad day when they have to be, they're forced to quit the game. So they just slide over to Power. So it's a great membership retention tool. For our tournament coordinators, when a company or a group come to to discuss, to say, well, we can do lunch, dinner, scoring, prizes. We also offer Power2Golf for those in the group that aren't necessarily golfers or there's a physical issue.
Right.
So another application. Guy comes up and says, yeah, I'm golfing. My buddy's just going to ride along because he doesn't golf. Says, well, we really don't do the ride along thing anymore, but we have Power2Golf. And just a couple of minutes of instruction, they're on the first tee, hitting it 200 yard plus down the fairway and having a great time joining in. So it's more inclusive. And instead of having one green fee, you've got two green fees. So again, a lot of benefits. It's just really the challenge, quite frankly, is to get operators to actually listen for 5 minutes and say, hey, this might be something that actually does make sense versus, oh, we wouldn't need that at our property. And that's kind of typical. At first blush, you get that. But once they start to listen a little bit, they realize, wow, there's a lot more to this than just a, funny new club.
Right, right. So I'm curious to hear that that individuals that buy your club are a lot. I guess it depends on their level of physical ability and movement. But you find most of them have like two or three. They have your club in the bag, and then they also have a traditional putter. And if they're still able around the green, maybe they have one club to chip and pitch around the greens. So what are you finding right now, or are you also able to use just the one club that you have there, with obviously without kind of releasing it, using it as a putter too? So I'm very curious to hear
Right.
about the experience and the feedback that you've got from the people that are using the club.
Well, the people we serve go from something minor, like a little bit of a twinge in their shoulder, to something major, like a stroke survivor, some with MS or ALS, and it really depends on their level. Quite frankly, this is club. Once you get used to it, it's calibrated at sea level, and it's plus or minus about 1%, so it's very accurate. For those, most of the people that we serve, they have golfed in the past. They love the game. There's just a physical issue. Either they can't swing at all, or if they try, they're in too much pain. So, but most of them can handle a short shot. You shouldn't really have more than about a 10-yard shot into the green. If you're not on the green in your approach shot, then you're going to be pretty darn close. So a lot of our players either have a short pitch, or they simply pick up the ball and drop it on the green.
Right.
They're just so happy to be out there. They're not too picky. They're just glad to be out there, continue to have fun with their friends and family.
Love this, love this. So walk us through the club once again. You said you can hit a draw with it if you want. I'm assuming you can set it up for a fade or hit it straight. You can hit it higher. Let's say I've got a 70-yard shot into the green. So how would I go about setting up the club again for a 70-yard pitch shot to the green as compared to trying to hit it 220 yards from the tee?
Right. They would simply just to make the adjustment on the range control lever, and they would set it towards the lower setting and address the ball, and simply push the fire button on the grip, and the striker comes out 2 inches and hits it onto the green. You fade the ball by having the shaft at a more of a flatter angle, and you hit a fade with the shaft angle being a little bit more horizontal. Or your standard address position, you're going to hit a straight shot with the top of the club level to the ground. As far as a high shot, put it up in your stance, hands behind the club head, or a lower shot, club head behind let's say opposite your back foot, hands forward. So if you got a 20-mile-an-hour wind, you can put it back in your stance and hit a low boring shot into the wind. If you get a little bit of a tailwind, put it up in your stance, and you can take advantage of the wind. Into par threes, you don't need a tee, but if you want to use like a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch tee, you're going to get a bit more higher flight. Let's say going into a par three, you want to hit a little bit higher and landing softer. It's a static 17-degree loft angle, which was the optimum loft angle, getting loft and distance. So it basically does all the shots. My lowest round on a regulation golf course is 3 under par using a power club, a wedge, and a putter. It's amazing how easy the game really is if you're hitting 14 out of 14 fairways.
Right.
I mean,
And I certainly do not do that. Well, I was ready to ask you what the lowest score you've ever played, and you just answered that. So this is interesting. So one thing I love about this, with using the Power2Golf club, is you can still be very creative. There's certain kind of ways that you can get around a course and I guess activate your mind. That's one of the other things we love about golf. Not only the physical benefits that we have from golf, from hand-eye coordination and core strength and all those things from the swing, but that other piece is that that mental aspect of kind of using your brain to actually problem solve while you're out there. So that whole problem solving creativity piece, even though you're not taking a full golf swing, is still there. Because I'm sure you played enough with your club that I'm sure that with the certain shots, you may look at this with the Power2Golf club, you may have 2 or 3 different options from 115 yards out of how you want to shape that shot. Yeah.
right. Oh yeah. No, it's once you've hit it a few times, you really take it on. Say, that is my shot because I allowed for the wind, the roll, the positioning, and just like the traditional game, it's like a chess match. You got to look a couple shots ahead. Where do I want to be to give me the most favorable result? Do I want to be on the left side of the fairway, right side of the fairway? How far do I want to be on my approach shot? And so on and so forth. So no, it's definitely you. You're controlling it. The only thing that's happening is you're not taking a swing, but the alignment, positioning, the height, and considering the topography and so on and so forth. You're taking all that in consideration.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to put on my investor hat and ask an investor type of question here. So we talk about kind of a total accessible market. So how many potential golfers, users, buyers are there out there that are either disabled or just physically they're just not capable of swinging a golf club, and this would be perfect for them? So how big is your potential audience here for the club?
Well, that's a good point. The benefits are, as I talked earlier, as far as the golf operations. The other benefit, it's an efficient, effective way to be ADA compliant. Because now the technology is available, it's not just, okay, we've got ramps into the restroom and to the restaurant, but people can actually play the course. So with the Power2Golf club, it's an easy, efficient, effective way to be fully ADA compliant, not just window dressing where someone can use the restroom or get a sandwich in the clubhouse. They can actually play the golf course. As far as the size of the market, again, our core group are the aging population, the baby boomers, and they have the time and they love golf because most of them played for 40, 50 years, but there's a physical issue. So that figure, according to the National Golf Foundation, is over 10.6 million golfers that are 60 years and older. So that number grows up to about 14 million over the next 5 years before it starts to level off a bit. So it's a huge market. Not everyone who's aging is going to need it. And not everyone who's aging is necessarily going to want it. But the potential for us is anywhere from 1 to 3 million of these golfers. And we're at a point now where it's becoming more and more accessible. We've sold over 5,000 units now, and as I mentioned, throughout the U.S. and 8 countries. So now it's getting to a point where this is the acceptable thing to do once you reach that point. But there's always been pushbacks in revolutionary technologies, be it the bicycle, automobile, airplane, even the push shopping cart. I mean,
Right.
back in the 20s, you came in with your list in a basket, and I'll be back in 20 minutes to pick up my groceries. Well, that's how they used to do it. Well, now it's changed, obviously, and it's the same with the power. It's the level of acceptance where people realize, hey, if you can't play the traditional game for whatever reason, there's Power2Golf. So again, what's exciting and I feel really proud about is we've torn down, removed all the barriers that are inherent to golfing. So those barriers are gone. It's a new day here. And instead of the industry fighting over 7 to 8% of the population, literally everyone can play now. Another application, it's a great starting point if you are healthy, have the time, in getting into the game. I remember as a teaching professional, we'd lose a certain percentage of people when they realized, oh, this isn't that easy. This is pretty tough.
Yeah.
So you give them a couple lessons, you never see them again. They would say, well, this isn't really for me. AKA, this is a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. So again, the other application is to use it as a training wheels as they're learning the proper game, and they get a little confidence in their swing. And but this kind of kept them as a good starting point.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
I know, knowing you for years and talking to you in person at least once a year for at least the last 3-4 years here, Steve, that you're always looking to calibrate your business model, whether it's business to consumer with the club, so selling directly to individuals, and you can talk about the pricing point, and I'll bring your website up in a minute here so we can look at that, but also that business to business piece that you touched on, whether it's selling to golf courses directly, selling to organizations, whether it's veterans associations, and so they actually have the clubs, which to me seems, if you can sell 10 or 15 or 20 clubs at once rather than one at a time, that it could be somewhat advantageous. So tell us a little bit there of what you've found over the years. You keep refining your business model here and have what's called a two-sided marketplace that you appeal to both organizations and businesses and individuals.
Right. Well, we initially started where it was going to be selling to the golf courses and having them provide it. And it was too early at that time. They didn't get it all, and quite frankly, they didn't want to spend the time to learn. So we changed our model, went right to the consumer, and they get it right away because the people we serve, it's either Power2Golf or they don't golf. Okay, so those are your choices. And then now with regards to the golf courses, we're bringing them in. We're contacting golf course management companies now actively, as well as individual courses, as well as driving ranges and golf entertainment venues as a great application. And again, all these golf entities, they benefit initially by simply being an efficient, effective way to be ADA compliant. Okay, and they have to be ADA compliant, whether they like it or not. They have to make their properties accessible for everyone, which is good. I mean, if you're on the outside looking in, and you were born with something, or you had a life-changing event, and the technology exists, and you care that little about other people with physical issues that you don't even want to, bring in a couple of clubs, then I guess you deserve what you get, unfortunately. But quite frankly, we really haven't had to use that. Most people at this point now that we've been around for several years, they're getting it. The golf course owners and operators and saying, yeah, let's bring in a couple of clubs to get it started and see where it goes from there. And we have a guide to a successful golf property, which we include, and we support their efforts to get them started and ongoing as well. As far as groups, we're starting to work closely and more so with the PGA Hope program and the Veterans Association. The PGA Hope, if your audience doesn't know, I'm sure most of them do. It's a great organization, a great program. The courses volunteer the property for the day, and our PGA pros step up and they volunteer their time gladly. And but where Power2Golf fits in if someone is a veteran and wants to join in, but they're at a point, there is either a mild or a severe situation where they simply can't swing a golf club or they can't swing without pain, then that's where Power2Golf sets is for them. So if they can do it the traditional way, great. If they can't, hey, we've got something for you. So come on out, regardless of your particular situation. And then we're partnering with a lot of different distributors now, either online or brick and mortar. So we're discussions with quite a few of them. And probably the next step that we're looking at is a licensing program with some of the big players, the Callaways, your TaylorMades, your Pings, your PXGs, and so forth. And so they have a large footprint and they can provide our technology to their customer base. I mean, one example, a good example of why they're doing it is, no business likes to lose their customers. And let's say Callaway, for instance, someone's been loyal since the Big Bertha days, 30, 40 years ago. And but now they can't golf. Hey, no problem. We have Callaway Power and or Ping Power. And whoever, their audience that may be loyal to whatever, brand out there, instead of losing them as a client, they just move over to the Power Edition. So we have some initial discussions going on there.
Well, I hope there's some positive results that come out of those conversations. So let's back up a little bit here, the few minutes we have left here, Steve.
Sure.
Can you share with us your entrepreneurial journey, kind of that aha moment? Someone like yourself as a teaching professional, you could have decided to do anything you wanted to do. Why did you decide to go this route? What was that aha moment? What motivates you, powers you to first create Power2Golf, and where you saw that opportunity and how you even went about the engineering side? So tell us about the early days of prototyping and building this, and why you decided to go this route, because you're so passionate about this, and I know you're building this up, and it's exciting once you get to that tipping point. So yeah, tell us the origin story and your entrepreneurial journey here.
Well, starting anything, no weaklings allowed. You have to have fortitude beyond belief, almost to a point of insanity. But that's part of being an entrepreneur. I actually met the initial inventor many years ago, Roy H. Taylor, who was a retired aerospace engineer, and he needed some support with regards to someone with a golf background. That's what he was looking for. I just met him happenstance in Fremont, California, and one thing led to another as far as the lie and loft angle and making it look like an actual golf club. But that's where it all started. And we had several units that failed. They were too loud or they weren't durable. And it's not inexpensive to have each iteration. So that's basically the starting point. Where we're headed, our goal is to sell this off to one of the big players, because I'm willing to let the baby go to a company that has a worldwide footprint and can help not just thousands but millions around the world. So we're somewhere in between that point right now. We've definitely turned the corner. People are starting to get it, and but any advice to someone who is thinking about starting a business, be it golf related or anything else, is you first have to understand, is your market there? Number one.
Yes.
Are your margins there? And are you able to work 6-7 days a week, 12, 14-hour days? Are you willing to put that in with no guarantee of success?
Right.
So we've gone from being laughed at trade shows to people coming up and says, I've heard about that. We want to bring that into our golf property now. So it's been quite a journey, but it's been very worthwhile. What's kept us going are the stories, the feedback of, let's say, a wife of one of our golfers, power golfers. It was a relatively healthy guy, but had a stroke. And essentially, one particular story, one fellow we're serving right now, along with quite a few others, stroke survivors, is this fellow couldn't even talk anymore.
Yes.
But their buddies chipped in for a club and got him out golfing again. So that's what's kept us going. Stories like that through the tough times, the lean times, and but it's very rewarding, and I wouldn't change anything. And even though it's been a real son of a gun, bringing it to this point, but it's been very rewarding.
I love this, and I've done my best over the years to support you, whether it's shooting some video there and giving you some love there at the PGA show, and hopefully you're going to be at the PGA show again this year. Is that the plan? Are you going to be back there?
Well, I'll be out there in different capacities, and actually meeting with some golf course owners and operators this year. So
wonderful.
My plate's full as always.
As I'm sure will be the way that, well, you've got a reputation. People love what you do. Yes, they're not looking like, what is this thing? Is this real golf? You've managed to work, and it's taken you years to do this, that messaging of, is this real golf? And it is a golf experience. Absolutely. And the mindset has changed. And that's, I'm assuming, one of the most difficult hurdles for you to overcome. And you've been consistent with your messaging, showing the value and the benefits of what you're doing here, which has been amazing. So as we finish up here, I do want to share the screen with your website here. I believe we've got it. Where are we here? All right.
And I'll just say one thing in closing. When our golfers, our power golfers, they play right along with traditional golfers. They pay the same green fee. They tend to play as fast, maybe a little bit faster than regular golfers, so the throughput's good. And again, no divots. So our superintendents love it.
I bet. I bet they do. So yeah, got the website up there and the URL there too. So if people want to check out PowerGolfClub.com, got it right there. You can see on the
either
screen.
One works. PowerGolfClub.com or Power2Golf.com.
There we go. So there you can kind of see a little video there just of it in action there. Looks like you've got there's a holiday special on right now, but it sounds like your pricing right now is under $1,000 US. So very reasonable. I know you've got some different payment programs there too that maybe you can just share about that to the people, anybody that's kind of interested in perhaps even getting I know Christmas is right around the corner here, but it would be a nice gift for someone to start off their 2020.
Oh yeah, the gift of golf. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. The normal retail is $14.95 right now through Christmas. It's $8.95. We just want to get as many out there as possible, and when an upscale regular driver itself costs $500 and $600, this is actually a bargain. This club, again, it's got to be quiet, accurate, easy to use, and so forth. It's got 32 parts, and for us to charge this very, very low price, it probably won't happen again. So enjoy it. Also, once you do receive it, or as a gift on Christmas, you do have 10 days to make sure it's everything that we promise. So, or you can get a full refund if you wish. So anyway, but that's our program for our Christmas special.
Good stuff. And how are you on social media? How are you going about building a community to help share these stories? Something you mentioned there earlier that puts smiles on people's faces and gets them back out on the golf course. So how about that piece there? How are you building community of power to golfers? If that's,
well, we're encouraging our power golfers to showcase their club at their courses. Yes, we are on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and a number of other platforms. And and then we're doing email blast, educational blasts out to senior golfers to let them know, hey, if you don't need it now, you might need it down the road, but we've got you covered. If and when that day comes for you.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of different things, and on great shows like yours, podcast, you have a very large and growing audience community. So, a lot of different ways we're doing it. We're looking to partner with the Golf Channel and do more work with them as well. So any and all different ways we can get the word out is that what we're doing.
Love it. Love it. Well, in the comments and the chat, I will, of course, have the link to your website there so people can go check it out and hopefully buy some holiday specially priced clubs that you have there. Once again, we don't have any type of an affiliate program here. It's like, I don't benefit. I just love what you're doing here, and anything I can do to support and encourage people that have not tried golf or don't think, I can't golf anymore. This is the solution for you, and you can get out there with your buddies again and create some memories and create some stories, and maybe even shoot 300 par like Steve has done, which is pretty incredible. That's awesome. Good stuff. So, hey, Steve Fluke, co-founder of Power2Golf. Love what you're doing, my friend. Look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks' time in January in Orlando. Have a happy holiday season, and
you too.
and I look forward to all the good things that are going to happen for you and your company in 2025. So thank you for joining us on ModGolf Live today.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate it.
Great stuff. All right, you take care. Bye for now.
Bye now.